The reservation should have made no sense. That's what bothered me most. Not the hotel, not the room, not even the fact that Noah had booked it. It was the name attached to the reservation. Because when I saw it, I knew one of two things had happened. Either my husband had completely lost his mind, or he knew everything. Looking back, I should have realized it months earlier. The signs were there. The calmness. The patience. The complete lack of suspicion. People think getting caught feels like panic. Usually it doesn't. Usually it feels like confidence. That's what makes it dangerous. My affair with Ryan had been going on for 14 months. Long enough that I stopped worrying about being discovered. Long enough that lying became routine. Ryan and I met through a regional sales conference. Different companies, shared projects, too many business trips, too many opportunities. Eventually, one bad decision became 100 bad decisions. By the second year, I genuinely believed I was managing both relationships perfectly. My marriage remained intact. My affair remained hidden. Nobody suspected anything. At least that's what I thought. Then Noah suggested a weekend getaway, a luxury resort 3 hours from home. "It'll be fun," he said. "Just a group trip. Friends, couples, and a few coworkers. Nothing unusual. Nothing threatening." I agreed immediately. Ryan was attending too. That fact alone should have worried me. Instead, I convinced myself it was coincidence. The resort was enormous. Lakeside property, spa, golf course, multiple restaurants. The kind of place where hundreds of guests could disappear into the crowd. The perfect environment for secrets. Or so I believed. Check-in happened Friday afternoon. Everyone gathered in the lobby, people chatting, collecting room keys, making dinner plans. Then Noah walked toward the front desk. I barely paid attention. Until the receptionist smiled and said, "Everything is ready, Mr. Carter." She handed him several room packets, then one more. Noah turned, looked directly at Ryan, and held it out. "This one's yours." My stomach dropped. Ryan frowned. "What?" Noah smiled. "Your room." The lobby suddenly felt very quiet. Ryan looked confused. "So, you booked me a room?" "Of course." Noah shrugged. "I figured you'd need one." I felt my pulse climbing. Fast. Dangerously fast. Because Ryan hadn't asked Noah for a room. As far as I knew, Ryan had already booked his own accommodations. Yet somehow my husband already had a reservation waiting. Something wasn't right. Ryan hesitated. "You didn't have to do that." Noah smiled again. "I know." That answer hit differently. Not because of what he said, because of how he said it. Like the room wasn't a favor. Like it was part of a plan. The weekend continued. Dinner, drinks, poolside conversations. Everything seemed normal. Except Noah kept making comments. Tiny comments. The kind that sounded harmless. Until you looked closer. At dinner, he asked Ryan, "Comfortable room?" Ryan nodded. "Very." Noah smiled. "Good." Pause. "I wanted to make sure you felt at home." I nearly choked on my drink. Ryan looked away. Several people laughed. Nobody else understood. But the tension kept growing. Every interaction felt deliberate. Every comment felt calculated. And by Saturday night, I was convinced something was coming. I just didn't know what. The answer arrived during the final dinner. A private dining room. About 20 guests. Wine, steaks, dessert. The perfect ending to a weekend getaway. Then Noah stood. The room quieted. People expected a toast. Instead, Noah raised his glass and smiled. "I just wanted to thank everyone for coming." Normal, harmless. Then he looked at Ryan, and everything changed. "I especially want to thank Ryan." The room turned toward him. Ryan froze. Noah continued. Not everyone would stay in a room I paid for. Silence. Tiny, but noticeable. Ryan didn't respond. Neither did I. Noah took a sip of wine, then said, Of course, after paying for enough of your hotel rooms already, one more didn't seem like a big deal. The world stopped. Nobody understood immediately, but enough people understood. Enough. Questions started appearing on faces. Confusion, suspicion, realization. Ryan looked like he couldn't breathe. I probably looked worse. Then Noah calmly reached into his jacket and placed a small envelope on the table. Not dramatically, not angrily, just quietly. Like a man finishing a task. Divorce papers, already signed, already prepared, already waiting. When did you find out? I whispered. My voice barely worked. Noah thought for a moment, then answered. About 10 months ago. 10 months? 10 months of vacations, birthdays, family gatherings, anniversaries, 10 months of him knowing. Every memory changed shape instantly. Ryan stood first. Of course he did. They always do. I should go. Noah laughed softly. Technically, your room is already paid for. A few people gasped. Others looked away. Nobody knew what to say, because the fantasy had finally collided with reality. And reality always wins. Ryan left. The dinner ended shortly afterward. The weekend ended too. Months later, after the divorce was finalized, I finally asked Noah the question that had haunted me. Why book the room? Why reserve a hotel room for him? Of all the things you could have done. Why that? Noah sat quietly for several seconds, then answered. Because I wanted to see whether he'd accept it. I frowned. What does that mean? He looked at me, then said, A decent man would have been uncomfortable. Pause. A guilty man would have refused. Another pause. But he took the key. His eyes never left mine. And the moment he did, I knew everything I needed to know. I still think about that room sometimes. The key card, the reservation, the smile Noah wore when he handed it over. But the worst part wasn't being exposed. It wasn't the divorce. It wasn't even watching Ryan walk away. It was realizing that my husband had spent 10 months quietly carrying the truth while I kept pretending I was in control. And by the time he reserved a hotel room for my affair partner, he had already checked out of our marriage long before the weekend ever began.